Welcome back to the final round. We have some new details here on the stimulus talk negotiations. Democrats in the White House trying to reach an agreement here on a potential deal. Of course, new headlines coming right now about House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Secretary Stephen Mnuchin's phone call today. Jess Smith joins us now with that. Jess.
Yeah, Speaker Pelosi's office said that they talked for a little over 48 minutes earlier today. They say that they're continuing to make progress. The spokesperson said that the conversation brings us closer to being able to put pen to paper to write legislation. They did say that there are still some differences in work that needs to be done on schools and education, making sure schools are safe as kids go back. They also say that some of the differences are narrowing when it comes to health priorities. So that's language on testing and contact tracing. So that is still a sign of progress on that issue. They plan to speak again tomorrow, they say, hopefully with further guidance from committee chairs as they work to resolve open questions. So we will see what this conversation brings tomorrow.
Jess, do we have any other indication just in terms of, I know you were saying that their differences are narrowing a little bit when it comes to some of those health priorities. Of that, of course, is testing. Do we have any more indication just in terms of what the White House was looking for compared to what the Democrats initially put forward in their bill?
Well, you'll remember last week, Mnuchin came forward and said, we're going to accept the Democratic plan. We just have a few minor edits. Pelosi said those edits weren't exactly minor. They were trying to change the word may, change the word shall to may, requirement to recommendation. So that's something maybe that they've been able to work through and resolve as they've continued to talk throughout the week.
Hey, Jess, but doesn't the person who holds all the cards here, isn't that Mitch McConnell, Senator No? I mean, he doesn't want this thing to go down, right?
Right. There is some reporting that Majority Leader McConnell does not want the White House to accept a deal with Pelosi and Mnuchin before the election. He has told reporters publicly that he would take up their agreement at some point. So at some point could mean anytime. Does that mean before the election? Maybe not. He is concerned about it interfering with the confirmation process for the president's Supreme Court nominee. But even if he does take it up, who knows if it's going to be able to make it through the Senate, because so many Republicans are against this bill.
It just is interesting. You brought up the timeline here with the Supreme Court nominee. If we were to get some sort of agreement here between the White House and the Democrats and something would be on the table, what is that deadline that it needs to happen in order for it not to interfere with the Supreme Court vote next week? Are we talking about Friday, just 2 days from now?
I mean, Speaker Pelosi says she needs the bill to be written by the end of the week in order to get this done before the election. It really all depends on Majority Leader McConnell of how this timing will play out. I mean, once you have a bill written, you need a couple days to get it through the House. You'll need a couple days to get it through the Senate. So this will be a bit of a crunch to get it through before the election. And I mean, it just doesn't seem like that's going to be easy at this point, because Republicans have said, not only do we have problems with the top line number, but we also have problems with some of the provisions that they're talking about. So it still could be a while, even if there is an agreement on the House and White House side.
Yeah, it certainly could be a while. And that, of course, has been the big question, even if we do see an agreement with the White House and the Democrats, and, of course, how the Senate plays into all this. Rick, I'm just curious, because I know you've been following this story very, very closely. All of these almost fits and starts, it seems like, when it comes to this story here. How optimistic are you that we're going to get some sort of deal, and one that is able to satisfy all parties here in a timely fashion and ahead of the election in just 2 weeks from now?
Completely pessimistic, almost zero chance. I think this whole thing is a smokescreen. It seems to me Nancy Pelosi actually does not want a deal. It seems to me Mitch McConnell actually does not want a deal. Pelosi has to act like she does want a deal. Mainly what I think Pelosi wants to do is just stall until the election and hope that Biden wins and Democrats take the Senate, and then they get to call the shots in early 21, in which case we will have a very large stimulus deal. And Mark, by the way, we've been talking about this recently. That's kind of the market expectation at this point, is that we're going to see some stimulus at some point. If it doesn't come until 21, that's going to be because it's a Democratic deal and it's going to be huge. If Biden wins and does not get control of the Senate, we'll see a smaller bill, maybe like that $500 billion thing in the Senate, but not until after the election during the lame duck. So I would be fine if everybody just stopped talking about Pelosi's phone calls with Mark Meadows and with Steve Mnuchin and what Mitch McConnell thinks. None of them actually want a deal except Trump.